Welcome to the Knakal News Network. The Knakal News Network is brought to you by Massey Knakal Realty Services, New York's #1 building sales firm.
Hi, I'm John Hageman, Sales Team Manager for Massey Knakal. Welcome to the Knakal News Network. Today I'm here with Chairman Bob Knakal. One of the most polarizing topics of late has been the proposed Pied-à-terre tax. Can you tell us a little bit about what this tax is and what the implications might be for the market?
Well, the Pied-à-terre tax, Hags, is something that is probably one of the most absurd proposals that I've heard recently. What it is proposed additional real estate tax on apartments that are valued at $5 million or more. And this is something that really makes no sense for the city, and something that we hope doesn't gain a lot more traction than it already has.
So Bob, the politicians that are proposing this tax, what are the reasons behind it?
Well, Hags, the Fiscal Policy Institute is the organization that dreamt up this tax. One is because the city and the state need the money. Secondly, the folks who this tax targets are non-primary residents of these valuable apartments. Two other reasons why they're advocating for it is that London has this tax. And lastly, and most ridiculously, they're saying that the folks who own these very expensive apartments can afford to pay the tax, so why not tax them?
Let's talk about the fact that these are non-primary residents.
My argument would be that wouldn't you love a place in which you collect normal real estate taxes from somebody and don't have to provide them with the goods and services that government is supposed to provide? These folks who live overseas and are here for 2 weeks out of the year or 4 weeks out of the year are not consumers of the goods and services that government is supposed to provide with our tax dollars.
Bob, what about the London argument?
Well, that's another ridiculous argument. Firstly, I don't think there have been any studies done that have looked at the London market and determined how the market has performed with the tax versus how it would have performed without the tax. Secondly, and most importantly, there are hundreds of policies, both economic and political, around the world. That doesn't mean that they're right or appropriate for our marketplace.
But Bob, can't all of these people afford to pay the tax? Isn't that one of the arguments that does hold water?
They could afford to pay the taxes, but then we are singling out one group of people to pay more than others. I mean, what's next? If you drive a Mercedes into a gas station to fill up your tank, you pay an extra $1 a gallon for gas versus the guy who drives a Ford into the gas station? That makes absolutely no sense at all. And when you start singling out people, it becomes something that will dissuade people from wanting to come here feeling that they're in an unfriendly environment.
Bob, lastly, you mentioned the revenue.
Hags, the city and the state do need additional revenue. But I think rather than imposing taxes that could potentially drive people away from the city, we want to look at things that we could actually save some money on. So I think if we had some political backbone and eliminated the waste, fraud, and abuse and implemented policies that were affecting everyone fairly, we could raise the revenue that we need. In summary, the Pied-à-terre tax is one of the more ridiculous proposals to be made in recent years. This tax, which would single out non-resident owners of luxury apartments worth over $5 million, could have a chilling effect on the luxury market. Non-resident owners of luxury apartments around New York City are not consumers of the goods and services that our tax dollars are supposed to pay for, yet they add tremendously to economic activity when they are in New York. Let's hope the Pied-à-terre tax does not gain any traction.
Thank you for joining us today. Tune in next week for another installment on the Knakal News Network.